Okay guys, Brian Walsh from entrepreneur.co today, and I'm extremely privileged to be sitting with Cheri. I've just seen you talk on stage, Cheri. Your whole concept, I mean, I don't know how we're going to summarize this, but the whole bank system, your whole sales system, everything comes from. Maybe let's start at the beginning. Where did this all start? What got you into actually creating this program? Because it is truly an amazing program.
Thank you. 15 years ago, I decided to get in sales. I read a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. Everybody knows him. And he said that if you're ever going to attempt to become a business owner, you must master the #1 skill set in business, and that is sales. Yeah. And he went and sold for Xerox, and I thought, well, what am I going to sell? And I got involved in direct sales, network marketing, and I was also in financial planning, so I was selling financial services. And I was not an overnight success. My first year income was $700 US for the whole year. So I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have made way more money than me. And over a 5-year period, I took my personal development and training seriously. I'd show up to trainings and seminars and webinars, and I bought books and CDs, and I hired coaches and mentors, and I really just wanted to make a great living. I was 100% commission, and over that 5-year period, I got my income up to $72,000 US, which was respectable, but it wasn't anything close to hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars that I knew was possible. And I just couldn't figure out over that 5-year period what was missing. No one could put their finger on how do you create explosive income. Yeah. And then that's when I heard Tony Robbins say, let your prospect determine your presentation. And I'd been learning about the 4 personality types, but most companies train their salespeople how to have one presentation and how to pitch their product or service one way to all 4 styles. And of course that means that you might say the right thing to 1 out of the 4, but you're saying the wrong thing to 75% of your target audience. And it's no wonder that we've all been brainwashed by sales trainers out there and just bought into the paradigm that in order to get more yeses or close more deals, a salesperson has to go and get more no's, which means they're constantly in a frenzy for more leads, more people, more networking, more business cards to burn through those no's to get more yeses. And when I heard Tony Robbins say, let your prospect determine your presentation, I thought, what if it's possible to just get more yeses and actually calm down as a salesperson and simply figure out how do you deliver a different presentation based on your personality code, or what we call the bank code. Yeah. And once we teach you how to get your client's bank code, we'll teach you how to get their pen code, which is, of course, ink in the deal. So that's the concept.
I mean, it's just, and it's so interesting because you talk about the personality types. You mentioned it on stage. I mean, we've been taught this for years, and there's all these different assessments, and we use different assessments which, align with the sort of 4 areas and even the context around it. But it's just amazing when everyone talks about, you've got to do the visual, audio, kinesthetic, and you've got to do this kind of approach, and you've got to look at it from this side, but it's always one presentation. And you developed a system, and I think this is quite amazing because you've taken something that's there and said, wait a minute, how can this be used a lot more productively? And that little exercise you did, bring the guy up close to the stage and give him the cards, and it's practical. It's just, it's actually, I was sort of watching this going, like, this is something original. And of course you got a lot of claim. You were talking about Harvard actually, getting involved. So this is not something that's just Cheri and the idea she had. This is something that even to your own experience has exploded.
Even I'm shocked at the results, and that's what's cool. And actually, the reason Harvard University asked me to come and train on it, which is the ultimate form of flattery for someone who couldn't get into that cool school, to be invited to come and teach at the school. Albert Einstein has a really awesome saying, and he said, any fool can complicate something, but it takes a genius to simplify it. Yeah. And as I look back, on these personality types, there's a lot of programs in the marketplace, so many I can't even count them. And I remember studying, it's always fascinating to learn about who you are, right? You take an assessment, you get a 38-page report, and you're like, wow, look at how cool I am and how fascinating I am. But when you apply that in sales, going through that training never made me $1 more. Yeah. And I remember thinking, okay, at the end of the day, who cares who I am? I need to know who's my customer, and based on knowing who my customer is, I need to know how you buy. How do you make your buying decisions? Because when you work in sales, especially when you're in all commission, you live and die based on your ability to connect and close. Yeah. And so as a salesperson, we need immediate gratification. We need something that works yesterday, not something that's complex, deep in psychology, 3 months, 6 months, 2 years later, we're still not getting results. The salesperson may have quit or gotten fired by that point. So bank speeds it up and creates a dramatic increase designed to increase your sales and closing rate by 300%.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, I think it's that whole thing. It's one thing knowing, like you said, you can do the test. I always say in entrepreneurship, we also talk about 4 different primary sort of energies. And, it's so easy to connect with your energy. So if you're a particular energy and you go out, it's like, that's natural. But of course, you can't sort of, you can't put up a sign and say, can everyone with this energy come and buy from me and everyone else leave me alone? And so, you're spending all that time in front of other people that are not like you. And not even realizing sometimes that you're not able to connect with them. So, I mean, you're giving a basis that really educates the individual, but most importantly, teaches them how to then connect, how to change their own energy and their approach. I mean, use some really funny and brilliant examples up on stage. But I mean, it is profound because when you approach, we talk about the old element of getting rapport, it's like one of the old sort of sales contexts. It's not just as simple as, saying 1 or 2 things. I mean, if you just approach them the right way, you get almost instant rapport right away. Yeah,
and it's cool because once you start learning the personality types, then you can see, like, you can start to crack someone's code just based on seeing what car they roll up in, or what label suit they're wearing, or how their briefcase or purse is organized. I mean, it's fascinating stuff, and I've been studying this for 15 years, and to be honest, I've not only seen how to close deals, I've seen how to lose deals. And I've been fortunate enough in the process of losing deals to have customers respect me enough to tell me exactly where I screwed up. Like, I remember one time I was late for an appointment and I did not call ahead to be late. I just figured, hey, the party starts when I arrive, like a typical A part of our personality. And they said, you know what, before you get started, let me just tell you that I don't want to do business with you, so we don't have to go through this appointment after all. And I said, I had this look, I was slightly mortified and curious and insulted, and and they revealed to me, they said, Cheri, if you're late to the appointment and you don't respect my time before you have my money, I can only imagine how I'll be treated once you have my money. And that was a really valuable lesson for me early on in my sales career. That's like, wait, some personality types are notoriously late and some are impeccably early. And you better know which one you're meeting with, because you could screw up the deal before you even open your mouth. And these are the types of sales lessons I've learned that I now teach through the bank system.
And it's not just an education. I mean, you've got a very, very practical system that you've developed as well.
Again, because we have to take theory out of it and we have to now talk practical to get results. The bank was designed to get results within 24 hours of using it. And that's, again, goes back to immediate gratification of a salesperson or even a company training its sales forces. Payroll is enormous. And the sales team is responsible for bringing that revenue in, getting more clients, but it's also responsible for retaining clients and not having them leave to go to our competitors. Bank solves both of those problems, and even internal dynamics.
The brand, I mean, like, was it a coincidence that it sort of abbreviated to bank? Like, did you think of the names of the 4 equations you came up with, or did you sort of wanted to come to bank? Because every time you say bank, I actually go, like, this is so, I mean, bank is so not this, but, as a bank, as a place to put your money, but it just kind of gets it because it's about money and it's about banking money per se in the context. It's just a way, I just thought it was such an amazing way that it came out.
I always say I cannot take full credit. It obviously comes from much higher sources than me. I know this is my calling in life, is to bring this to people. And there was definitely a specific brainstorming session that I had with a friend of mine when I was trying to figure out, like, what am I going to do? I wanted to start my own company, and the thing that I was really best known for was training based on personality types, but I wanted to create my own brand and my own version of doing it. And I remember brainstorming. I was at a hotel in Southern California, and bank came out of it, but I don't remember how we got to bank. I don't know if I started with bank and then tried to re-engineer the types, or if I figured out the types and created the acronym. I'm sure it was a combination of both, but it was definitely destiny, and it's the brand. The brand is so good that it closes most of our sales before we even begin to explain. Crack the personality code, take it to the bank, and that's what salespeople want to do.
No, it's. I mean, your whole presentation, the quality of the presentation, the brand itself, it's just. It just works. And I mean, your own character, which is just so amazing, the way you connect with people on stage. You're the last speaker in the day, people have been going through a lot, and yet they're still there. I loved it when you started to ask people if they could recognize, which personality type they were. And, and when you asked for the K, you sort of more conservative. Some guys got up and shouted at me, yes! Like, I'm not so sure. But, but I mean, it was really great. I just loved the practicality of it. And I hope we get an opportunity at Entrepreneur today. We've got a lot of platforms. We'd love to actually get you more involved as a profile and talk more and get you to share more information. I'm sure you've written a number of articles and have all types of things that you can share with people because it's just wonderful to see. Yeah, and I know you want to build a business here. It's not just about you coming here to do some presentations. You want to set up people that are going to help you take this whole concept further.
Yeah.
Which is really, really exciting.
Yeah, it's called our Banker Program, and I'll just mention it because the reason it got created organically was our clients kept coming to us, and once someone's trained on bank, they can't stop talking about it. And their other sales mates and people in the office or even competitive companies are like, where'd you get that? I want one of those. Yeah. And so they started saying, hey, can we train this? Can we resell it? And there's quite a bit of revenue in the bank program for our trainers. Yeah. So we actually train and certify people to become our bankers. And then they go out and they actually drive market share for bank. And we have spillover from speaking engagements that we can't even meet that we get to farm out to our bankers, and it creates a really generous revenue model for them. To help us go spread the word. I think people need this type of training, and we're living in an economy where time is speeding up, not slowing down. And so the quality of those relationships, the impact, you might only have one chance to close that deal or to move that deal to the next step. And bank is used throughout that entire process. So we're really excited to bring the world something useful.
Yeah, no, I think it's brilliant. I don't want to take too much more of your time, Cheri. I think we'll have information about the program and your 2-day, there's a 2-day event coming up on the 30th, 31st, and hopefully keep the connection going. So as it grows and as you grow the brand, we get lots of followers of it, because I think it's really so nice to see a tool come out that just kind of grabs you and says, listen, you want to make better connections, some science, but some practical application to use it as well. So
thank you, I'm honored.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You guys good?